Everyone, it's Cass. Welcome back to my channel, What Cass Read. Today we are going to do my January wrap-up. So normally when I do my wrap-ups, and by normally I mean the last two wrap-ups that I've done, the only two wrap-ups that I've ever done, I have gone in like ascending order by stars. This month was a definitive reading journey for me, and so I'm going to take you through the chronological order of how I finished these books up in January. I finished up 5 books. One was a repeat author, and then the other 4 were brand new to me authors. I had 2 books that were 5-star reads, 2 books that were 4-star reads, and then I did end up having a 2.5-star read for January. That completely surprised me. I wasn't prepared for not liking that book, and it turns out I didn't like it. So let's get to it. Here's my January wrap-up. The first book that I finished up for the month of January is The Changeling by LeValle. I have posted my full spoiler-free review of this book. Now, if there's going to be one book that you decide to read out of my entire wrap-up for this month, make it The Changeling, and here's why. The Changeling is about a man named Apollo and his wife, and they have their first child, and everything seems like it's going well. Everything's going well in Apollo's life, but then his wife begins acting very strangely. She commits a horrible, horrible crime, and then she disappears. And this book is nothing short of a wild ride. But that is like the most superficial synopsis of this book. This book is so much more. It's a commentary on modern parenting. It's a commentary on raising children in a technology age. And it also does something just so mind-blowing with the writing style. If you know what a changeling is, the writing sort of takes you on this journey of a changeling as well. And I loved it. I picked up on that writing transition that LeValle took us on, and some people really felt like they were reading 2 different books. And if you read this book, you might see that as well. But I viewed the writing style and the journey of the reader as a veil that's being lifted, and so the story starts off one way, but as the veil lifts, it ends up in a completely different way. If there's one book that you pick out from my entire January wrap-up, make it The Changeling. I ended up giving this book 4 out of 5 stars. This next book I'm super excited to talk about. This is The Lies of Lamora, written by Scott Lynch. I just posted my review for this book as well, and this was my very first 5-star read of the year. It ended up being the second book that I read for the entire year, and here we have it. So this is about a young man named Locke, and he is a part of this gang of thieves, and they call themselves the Gentlemen Bastards, and they decide that they want to pull off some of the greatest cons and the greatest heists ever pulled off. Their plans start to unravel when maybe some villains find out who Locke is. Their priorities kind of shift when they still try and pull off the heist, but there's like all these crime lords that have a bigger fish to fry, and they get sucked into that. Did people compare this to Ocean's 11? I don't know. It's a pretty big heist that they're trying to pull off. I would say it's a little bit Ocean's 11-y. I said this in my review, that I considered this book to be a Franco-Italian, Mediterranean, Batman, Godfather, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles mashup. So if that doesn't convince you to read the book, I don't know what will. Go ahead and check out my review. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. The next book that I ended up picking up for the month of January, this is Cinder. This is written by Marissa Meyer. This is book number 1 in the Lunar Chronicles series. I picked this book up because I read back-to-back Ship of Magic, The Disappearance of Winter's Daughter, The Name of the Wind, then I went to The Changeling, then I went to Lies of Lamora. They are 5 huge, sprawling, fantasy, thinking books, and I was like, I need a break. I need a break. I went in with like 0 expectations, and it was a pleasant surprise. So Cinder is about a young girl named Cinder. It was just Cinderella enough, but it was also different enough. There's a young girl named Cinder. She is a cyborg. She lives in the city of New Beijing. She's also the greatest mechanic in New Beijing. And it turns out the Prince Kai, ends up seeking out her services because he has an android that needs to be fixed. And he kind of jokes around with her that it's just something that he is really fond of, but she kind of gets the hint that there is some really important secret information on this android that he needs fixed. She gets sucked into this big grand world and this big grand adventure. Again, I went in with like 0 expectations. I was just like, People seem to enjoy this one, but I really enjoyed it. I thought the characters were funny. I thought it was lighthearted. The plot takes off pretty quickly, but it's just super enjoyable, really well set up, and I'm really excited to begin continuing on with Scarlet in the month of February. So this is Cinder. I ended up giving this 4 out of 5 stars. We have Mad Ship by Robin Hobb. I love Robin Hobb. I just posted my entire spoiler-free and spoilery review of Mad Ship, so please, please, please do check it out. Lies of Locke Lamora may have been my first 5-star read of the year, but this was definitely my favorite book to read during January. This is the second book of the Live Ship Traders trilogy. I'm just besotted with Robin Hobb. If you don't know that by this point, you clearly haven't been watching enough of my videos. This book picked up where the last one left off. You have no idea how many times it took me to say that sentence. It continues on with our adventure, but we get more of our questions answered about, you know, what is a live ship, what's going on with the Vestrit family. There's so many good things. So I will say this, if you are looking to get into Robin Hobb and you don't want to commit to her entire series, the entire realm of the Elderlings, but you just want to dabble in some Robin Hobb because people cannot stop talking about her, I'm gonna break one of my rules and say read this one first, read it out of order, and then go back to the Farseer trilogy if you decide you want to find out what the heck is up with the realm of the Elderlings. This one, obviously, 5 out of 5 stars, and I'm going to be beginning Ship of Destiny, which is book number 3, the last book in the Live Ship Traders trilogy, today. Okay, so you remember at the beginning of this video when I said that there was a book that ended up being 2.5 stars. It surprised me just as much as I think it's gonna surprise you, because I was on a roll. 4-star, 5-star, 4-star, 5-star, and then this book happened. I know, I'm talking about The Last Wish by Andrzej Sapkowski. This is book number 1 in the Witcher series. I was taking part of the Witcher read-along hosted by Elliot Brooks on her channel. She speaks so highly of this book. So imagine my surprise when I read it and I didn't get it. I didn't understand what everybody loved about it. Imagine my surprise. I'm really upset about this. The Witcher series, for most American audiences, understand the Witcher series as a video game, which is Witcher 3: The Wild Hunt, I think it's called. My husband plays it. I don't, I'm sorry. The video game is really raw and gritty, and it's got some pretty dark humor, and it's pretty adult. So then the Witchers go through some type of magical transformation to be able to obtain all the magic and the skills to be able to fight monsters. Sounds super great, right? But because these were written as short stories, because this was translated from Polish to English, I feel like there was a lot missing from this book. There were just no real explanations of the locations that they were at. There were no real explanations of the magic that he was using. Like he would just perform magic and it meant nothing to me. Like, was I supposed to be impressed? I don't know. It literally meant nothing to me because they would just say, and then he made the sign of such and such. And I'm like, okay, well, okay. So he did this thing and I don't know what that is. I'm pretty upset about this. I'm still gonna review this book because I want to be fair and not only review books that I absolutely love. I gave this 2.5 stars. Because of that, I won't be reading Sword of Destiny for February. I already posted it in my February TBR, so I've just freed up some space by not continuing on with this series. I'm pretty upset about not enjoying this book. What are you gonna do? All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining me. That was my January wrap-up. But if you want to follow up any of the conversations that you have with me on social media, I'm on Instagram and Twitter. It's at WhatCastRead. It's the same as this channel, so I'm super easy to find. And then, like I said, you can also find me on Goodreads. So if you want to know what I'm rating books ahead of time, you can find me on there, and that link is going to be down below. Otherwise, you know how these videos end. I'll talk to you later. Bye.